I guess I'm going to sit here by my own self for a while, but that's okay because, oops, hello. I am trying to plug my stuff in. I got too many to do things. Hey, dirt in my eye. Hi, my person's monkey. Well, y'all are in for a Nana moment, is what you are. Tonight is a Nana moment because I keep going back and forth. Do I sound like I'm screaming, by the way? Sometimes I feel like I'm screaming. My husband says I'm deaf, pretty much. And so sometimes maybe I am sounding like I'm screaming. I don't know. But, oh, y'all, hold on. I'm getting a headache. I forgot to take, y'all can hear me, I think. I think y'all can hear me if I keep talking like that. Oh, good. Yeah, I'm starting to get a headache. I think I have my hair up too tight or something. I have been busy today. I have a lot of stuff to do. Can you hear me right then? I'm just assuming you can hear me. I don't know. Maybe there's a need for a microphone I hadn't figured out yet. If I figure out I need one, my husband will get me one. But I don't like wearing this thing. Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad I'm not yelling. I will be yelling if my daughter doesn't bring me in some coffee. I ordered some coffee. Not ordered it from Starbucks or anything, ordered it from my own kitchen. I ran out of time and said, would you make coffee? And she and her better half were running around the house chasing each other with some neon bracelets. I got no idea, y'all. I got no idea what goes on in my house. I'm just like, I'll just walk out there and then I just come in. I will say, have y'all heard, and this probably is not going to be the video for it, but have y'all heard that and I do have what's the word? The documents that were filed by the C.F. McCarthy's. And I just have to read them. But I'm so proud of C.F. McCarthy's for them to say, "You're full of it, buddy. We're not paying your dime." I'm still in awe that anybody took the case. To be honest, it makes absolutely no sense to me. So that one I have to do. And I'm also going to do, some people have all these different channels for all these different things. Well, no, I think I'm just going to toss all mine in here and just have them in different areas. But I'm also going to cover Aiden's case that I can get my hands on the paperwork because it's an embarrassment, or Massachusetts should be so very embarrassed that the Canton Police Department and the Massachusetts State Police truly have invested more time in the so-called witness intimidation, trumped up charges. I believe those charges came in 2023. They have really invested a whole lot of time. Hey, Margaret. Happy Friday from New York City. New York City. I tell you, my heart breaks for all the people in Florida. My sister-in-law just moved there, but she's not in the vicinity. But I just keep asking my brother, is she okay? Is she my brother? Oh my God. I keep asking my husband, her brother, if she's okay. So, if y'all are wondering what I'm gabbing on about tonight, I need y'all to let me know in the comments of the video like after it's done so that I can, because I don't know how to do a community tab very good. I have to figure that out. But I want to know if anybody else is interested in the cases against Aiden. And oddly enough, the reason that I'm even talking about this is because I thought that I would just do a little let's find out who killed Officer John O'Keefe, as if we were just on the scene. And the reason that I wanted to do that is if I myself, as a non-law enforcement officer, can point out discrepancies, one would think that'd be obvious to those in the fields. I've heard that many troopers don't support Karen Reed. That's their prerogative. As I say, anytime, it's anybody's prerogative. But the bottom line is, well, even had they not released the information from, if we had not, excuse me, if we had not heard from the experts that the FBI hired, and if we didn't know that the experts had hired, good Lord Almighty, y'all, we might get through this today at some point. This is my life, okay? So, welcome to Nana's world. I want to say if we, and see, I don't know who Harry, oh, is Howie Carr, when did they get charged? Because I just thought I thought the other day I made a comment on one of the news, I don't know, Boston News. I asked that they had done a clip it of Jim Daniels and Jim Ferris, and it was back from when it happened. It was Turtle Boy's. Oh, okay, I'll have to look at that. Well, maybe we can just pull it up. But I had heard on there they were just, oh shit, shoot. I mean, hold on, my brain. I really can multitask. It just seems that I can't. I'm going to have to look that up because it was either yesterday or day before that I actually put a comment on one of the Boston um, channels. It was on YouTube because they did have Turtle Boy's footage. Oh, what's wrong with what Howie Carr do? Okay, I'm about time because they did, it was back in August. I mean, I remember, and then we just kept waiting. Are they going to be charged? When are they going to be charged? But I can't believe that even the police officers that, I mean, Kevin, Albert, and then Tully, they were just basically investigated by their peers with what they got wasn't even a slap on the hand. I mean, let's face it, Kevin Albert had 3 months paid vacation. Basically, that's what he got, 3 months pay, because he was suspended with pay. Why it was 3 months for them to figure out that they were going to say, well, he didn't do anything wrong, because if you live in the state of Massachusetts and you're in the law enforcement, or you're a state trooper, then it is okay, apparently, to go out, get drunk on your rear end, drive a vehicle, and you go ahead and drive your buddy around because you're both drunk and you're both in a in a vehicle, law enforcement, and then don't worry about where you put your gun or your badge for a couple nights. It's not that big of a deal. It really isn't. They're going to give you 3 days dock pay. That's it. So, and they're going to suspend you for about 3 months with pay while they investigate to find out what you did wrong, to see if you did anything wrong. Because apparently, if you live in that area, you can just drink and drive all you want. You can leave your gun wherever you want. Oh, I've got a picture like that on my phone. I bet that is a picture from my phone. Y'all have to excuse me. I just saw this gorgeous picture. Beautiful tree. I bet I can't share it. Let me see. I got all my cords. You see that? Isn't that pretty? I got y'all. Whoop. Oh. Whoop. Well, it's gone now. So be it. That's it. I forgot there was something else I was supposed to order myself. Oh. I had a couple things I was supposed to order. I kept saying tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. Oh, Howie tells the truth as well. It was a tree, a purple tree. It's probably in my pictures because just because. No telling. All right, so I'm glad that Jill Daniels and Ferris have been charged. But I mean, what are they going to do? Smack their hand? These people don't get in trouble for anything. So what I thought of is every time I go to do a video, I get stuck on a few things that bother me. So this is the things that bother me in this case video. That's what it is. And I typed up some notes so I wouldn't forget. Okay, so Howie Carr. Does he have like a YouTube channel? I don't think I've ever heard. Does Turtle Boy ever talk about him? I know y'all probably think I'm crazy, but Turtle Boy is the main. He's a, he's the name I remember. That man's been through pure D hell trying to stand up for the right thing when all he wanted to do was go and write an article about a woman who sadly, for whatever, supposedly, allegedly, had killed her boyfriend. The thing is, when he started investigating, he found out that wasn't so. So what did he do? He kept on investigating. What happened? Well, let's see, they're going to charge him with witness intimidation. They tried to charge him and Karen Reed. There, I have the. I've got to find it. It's in order. It'll be probably in the when I do the Aiden Kearney thing. So in the middle of Karen Reed being tried for John O'Keefe's murder, it wasn't good enough. Tully was trying to get her for conspiracy or some stuff. So see, all they had to do, right? All they had to do was say they suspected that Karen Reed and Turtle Boy were having conversations. I'll have to pay attention, my person's monkey. Thank you so much. She's talking about Howie Carr, that is also calling out corruption. Boston Herald, and sometimes he and Turtle Boy are on together. Radio show and writes in Boston Herald. Awesome. Thank you, because I'm just so far. So, and I also have not. I was supposed to call DOJ today, and I did not. I had my list. I was supposed to do a few other things, which is I don't have none. Still hadn't done my taxes. I get money back this year, so it hadn't bothered me. But my husband got on to me last night. What else was it I was supposed to do? I was supposed to order some stuff from Amazon that he thought I ordered a week ago. But when I mentioned it to him, he didn't sound real happy with it, so I didn't get it. And then he's like, well, isn't it here? Well, no, I didn't think I could get it. I'm getting me a. I got two printers back there. I have a sublimation printer and then just a regular printer, and I'm getting a cart so they can go on there because this is our room and this is my workspace because my daughter and three grandchildren live here and her partner and until they can save up the school system that they need to live in is a little expensive, so they've got to save up before they move out, and then I'm going to be lost whenever that happens because hello mama, this is my daughter, she said wave hi, coffee coffee, say thank you. Oh, all right, now see, there's nothing wrong with my eyes. Did my camera, is my camera blurry to y'all right now? Because I'm looking at one spot, it's not blurry, but then I look at another spot, it is blurry because there's two spots on this. Oh, I hope not. Anyway, so I'm just going to put, thank you very much. I'm just going to say that because of everything that I found out, I can't just sit here and say nothing. So every time I go to do a video, I've got something to say. So I tell you what, we've had some rough times, but she's a good girl. So what I want to do, and I realize, and probably better because it's such a small group, I can keep up. If do I look? Oh, it'll probably go back. I hope so. I don't know how to fix it unless I go out and come back in. Maybe I should try that. What will happen if I try that? Let me try that. If I go away, then we know I can't do that, right? Maybe I'll just do this. Stop the camera for a minute. No. Okay, let me try this. No. Okay. Well, I just look really blurry because I'm not, the next thing is just to start over and I'm not going to end it to start. If it gets really bad and real blurry, y'all let me know and I'll try to go back. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to have a conversation about what I think. Oh, thank you. They're so precious. What I think is when the defense was cross-examining the law enforcement, and there was one of them. I can't remember if it was Lank or who it was that honestly became argumentative about pointing out why he did not have cause for a search warrant. Y'all, this is driving me crazy. How in the world? Do I still look blurry? What is okay. So, oh, here it is. Here it is. Never mind. Never mind. Y'all, I'll find it. It's got to be in my phone. It's got to be a picture of my phone. I love it. I'll find it and then I'll share it if I ever figure that out. All right. I'm done. I'm done messing around. Why is it so blurry? That's just me. It still looks blurry. Okay. If it's not too blurry, I'll go. If it gets too blurry, y'all tell me and we'll just start again. So my whole thing is when I was listening, my phone listens to everything. Aw, I wish I could have a Scottish cow. I wish I could have miniature cows. I don't know how to take care of them, but I could pay somebody to take care of them if I was smart enough that I could afford to get them. One day I hope I can afford to buy myself a new car. We bought a new car about 7 years ago, and we decided it was going to be our very last car. We have had more trouble with that car than any other vehicle we've ever owned. We've had to replace the motor and the windows because the up down up down. Yeah, thrill. Live in Texas and have your windows get stuck in a position of down in the rainy season. Thank goodness. Anyway, but I'm hoping I can buy my husband a car. I don't want to drive, but he wants a newer car. So what I did is I wrote up a few things. I did some thinking, and I just want to see if maybe we all think the same. So the first thing that I'm going to think of is like, okay, so when a person is found dead in someone's front yard, those are going to be very unclear circumstances, which one could call suspicious circumstances, which then throws this case into a specific way that you handle it. Y'all, that's driving me insane. I hope it's not blurry. Okay, so, you know, the first officers on scene, well, because it was windy, they couldn't they couldn't secure the scene, right? Because it was windy and snowing and blowing snow. Only authorized personnel should be allowed around or near the body or the crime scene, whole thing. All points of entry and exit from the scene should be documented and controlled to maintain chain of custody, right? And they should have taken tons of pictures, tons of pictures. They should have had their cameras out. And if they would have taken pictures of where John O'Keefe was positioned, how John O'Keefe was positioned, you could kind of figure between the flagpole and where he was. They didn't bother to take a photo of anything. Now, I do understand that the EMS were busy working on him, but that's why you have police officers out there. And the police officers also got, no, I don't, I wish. The police officers have cell phones. If nothing else, they've got cell phones. We know that because um, we just know that. So there's no detailed notes, there's no detailed photos, there's certainly no videos. What did they do? They got a phone call. There was a man dead on Brian Albert's yard, and they went out and they cleaned it up, is what they did. That's what the police did. They didn't go out there and try to worry about who was dead, how they died, where they came from. It didn't matter that a blizzard's coming and he's out there with one shoe on, one shoe off, not dressed appropriately. That was not a concern either. But this is a full-fledged investigation because of the fact you have a man dying in someone's front yard. Actually, he did die in that front yard. They just could not pronounce him. And I am not trying to speak coldly. I'm not trying to speak like I don't have feelings, because if that were my child, the one thing that I do know in this life is a parent that loses a child, one, much less two, is going to have their life turned upside down for the very rest of their life. You never get over the loss of a child. You learn to walk with it, but you're not ever going to get over losing a child. It's impossible. It can't be done. So I understand that people want her to have justice, and she's out for vengeance, and I assume I get that too. But not when it comes to someone that is innocent. And that's what's happening here. So I would think, let's see. Do we have any detailed notes? Nope. How about pictures? Did we get a lot of pictures from the scene? Nope. How about measurements? Did we do any measurements so that we could later say where his body had been placed? Nope. Could they have somehow roped off measurements without tape measures and without caution tape? I mean, I'm surprised they don't carry that crap in their car. You know, there were many, many ways to notate what was going on. Get get resourceful. That's your job, right? You're law enforcement. Think outside the box. What do you do? See, you're supposed to think that way. Us normal folks, we're just supposed to stay out your way so you can do your job. But all right, so we know there were weather conditions, and the sad thing about the weather conditions is Lally wanted to pretend that a good 20 feet of snow had fallen and John O'Keefe was under every bit of it. I mean, that's the way he acted, right? He wanted everyone to assume that John O'Keefe was basically just buried in that snow that had been there for a whole night. But like I said, blood's not going to seep up, y'all. And it only took a light dust to get that leaf blower to get to them blood droplets. And that's in theirs. They can't overcome that. How do they overcome that? They can't. The whoever it is that's been brought in as a special prosecutor, if he has any brains, and I'm going to say any cojones, he's going to look at what they do have, tell them what they don't have is a case, and refuse to prosecute it, even if they offer to pay him $1 million. Or is he getting the $1 million just by looking at it? I don't know. But it seems to me that I wouldn't sell my soul for $1 million. I watch a lot of people. Look at what's going on with that P. Diddy guy. Was he ever good? I don't know. I didn't follow him. I don't know what's going on. I do know that the most grotesque stuff I've seen, and watching more and more of it just comes out. And no. But these law enforcement officers want everybody to just go away. They want us to shut up and move on so they can pretend that they solved a murder case. So we know they had some weather, but let's just say since you live in Massachusetts, you should be able to handle the beginning of the blizzard, right? Wouldn't you think? Here, let me mute this just in case I burn my mouth. Hold on. And I don't know if you can hear me swallow when I take a drink, and that's just, ugh. That is good. Nana drinks Maxwell House French roast with I was going to sneeze, half and half, and sugar. And nobody in this town carries French roast Maxwell House anymore. Look, it fixed itself. Oh my gosh. Nobody in this town carries it. I have to order it through Amazon. I get my coffee in the mail. And if we're drinking more coffee than I thought we were drinking, then oh my word, I have to go out in town and buy the crappy coffee until mine gets here, and I just am not a happy camper. Not a happy camper at all. So I'll tell you that my ex-husband, he drank Folgers. And I'm guessing that's why I flipping hate Folgers. My daughter, no, it was my son. My son one time, my husband and I'll always talk about my husband as if he's my children's father. But he's not their biological father, but he's their father. He's the only dad they've had because that's just how it ran. My ex-husband didn't get help, didn't get counseling, didn't do anything. So anyway. Oh, well, good. Next time I take a drink, let me know because I'm like, oh, last time I muted myself. So Now, they say that there were no footprints, but I'm just wondering if they'd have used that leaf blower, they'd have found some footprints. But they didn't do that. They just kept it real set, just whatever right there where they found him. I think they had specific orders, don't go anywhere but right there, right? And get done and get out of here fast as you can. So we know that they're not the most brilliant. We know they're not forensic photographers. But come on, y'all. Y'all are law enforcement. Y'all should have sense. I mean, you pull out and you take pictures. You know, I forget to use my camera and I'll think, oh man, I missed that memory. Like I went shopping with my grandson the other day, my son's son. He's going to be 17 in November and he towers over me. He's 6 foot and he's beefy 6 foot. He's a big young man. Now I keep forgetting to take pictures. I go see my aunt that I hadn't seen in 3 years, forgot to take pictures. But we're talking about a crime scene. We're talking about a man was found dead in someone's front yard. The other thing that I think I would have done if I would have been the homeowner is come out with my own camera because I'm going to protect my own self and I'm going to be concerned about, whoa, what's going on? But then again, they didn't feel they needed to come outside at all. So we have that. The time of death should be estimated based on the body's condition, rigor mortis, and other forensic factors. And I believe, did they not say that rigor had started to set in? That cold temperature, but yet he didn't have frostbite. He didn't have frostbite. How is that possible? They didn't have frostbite because he wasn't out there long enough. Let's see. A thorough search would have been good around the scene, not just the body, but the entire surrounding area. These are my opinions. Should have been done. Blood patterns or evidence of struggles. Okay, well, we didn't see a big, we only got to see what we saw, which wasn't much, you know, but they didn't think to take pictures. How in the world do you not think to take pictures? Oh, I know they thought that Karen Reed was just going to shrivel up and bend over and take it without any sugars. And she said, y'all are sadly mistaken. Let me show you folks. Good for her. They should have also, if there was anything that they saw that would have said that there had been any car accident, you know, and they could have determined that with that little leaf blower too, because it only needed to take off just a light dusting because you don't want to go down to before he was put on the ground. But that, that would have helped. So I also want to know, I would think that the neighbors, my men would start going and interviewing neighbors. I don't care if it's 5 a.m. There's a dead gentleman on the lawn. Not just a dead gentleman. There's a dead cop on the lawn. And potential witnesses are the surrounding homeowners. Ring camera. Anybody got ring camera? Oh, they all have it, but it just wasn't working that night. Now, let me ask you, if they had ring camera or Google or Nest or whatever you want to call it, if there was a camera, if there was any video that showed Karen Reed backing into John O'Keefe, we'd already seen it. There is none. That's the problem. That's why nobody bothered to go and talk to anybody. I wonder if any of the neighbors ever um, were they ever questioned? The homeowners, they needed to be interviewed really early because they're connected to the location where the body was found. It's their friggin' yard. And they should have been thinking all along the lines, if the people in the house are saying he didn't come in, we don't know anything, then they should have had extra force outside checking everything. And their excuse was it was bad weather. Their excuse was a blizzard. Their excuse was they don't know how to process a crime scene in the snow. They didn't realize it was a crime scene. You know, I'm just wondering, how is it you don't know there was a crime scene when there is a man dying in someone's front yard? He can't tell you whether he did it myself or if someone did it to him, right? So what you have is a man dead, actually dying, left out in the cold for a horrific, painful death. And you're just going to assume that what? He just was drunk and tumbled into the yard? Because, see, at the point that you first arrived to the house, no one has said a word about Karen Reed backing into Officer John O'Keefe. No one has said a word to you about doing a crime scene investigation. You need to be fired. You need to be fired, not retired. You need to be fired because I have since God gave a jackass, and I'm telling you right now, if I was in a cop car, you know, sometimes they do ride-alongs. What would y'all have done if I'd have been in your car on a ride-along? I'd have been out there going, "Has anybody got a camera? Is anybody going to take any pictures? Anybody got a measuring tape? Somebody going to go check in on that house, see if anybody in that house is dead?" Those are the questions I'd be asking, and I'd be just a ride-along nosy lady. But I bet they don't do ride-alongs. Not there, not unless you're a oh, I can't even, don't get me going. So, um, yeah, I mean, any vehicle should have been checked. We know that blood evidence. We know they found some droplets in the snow, and before it could melt in the blizzard, they needed to dig it up and put it in red Solo cups. That the people on a committee of Canton audit fire police officers, they thought it was just an ingenious thing to do. I mean, so if foul play is suspected, I know that when y'all called the second time, it took them a while to get clearance, but you weren't in a hurry either. So you needed that time to pass by because you needed to figure out what you were going to do. And wow, when it came together for y'all, you thought you hit the golden goose, didn't you? When you were able to get a hold of Karen Reed's car, bust out those pieces and get them back to the Alberts residence before the CERT team came, you thought you had done your due diligence. Problem is, all those pieces should have been seen by the cops on the scene because nothing was buried in the snow. There was a light dusting of snow on top of the blood droplets. A light dusting of snow had to be blown off. What does that tell you about the rest of the stuff? I don't know. I'm just using some common sense here. The fact that when they looked at John O'Keefe, we've heard the descriptions, right? That's right. When they offered to come the first time, that's why they denied it. And they tried to say that they had to, then they were saying how they had to get this guy, had to get approval, and it had to go up this chain, and then we had to get approval, and it had to go up this chain, and then both the chains up top had to talk to each other. No, 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 sugar. No, no. You see, there's a dead police officer laying in another police officer's front yard. I'd say it's about time to get everybody's ass in gear and get out there because nobody in that area has got any business touching that scene. That's what I'd say. But I'm not law enforcement. So let's see what else. Let's see. The thing that gets me about the finding him, that's what I was going to say. So they found him, and originally somebody even said he looked like he had been in a fight, right? Looked like he'd been in a fight. That's your first thought when you look at this man. Bloodied eyes, bloody nose, one shoe on, one shoe off, scratches up on the arm, which look like they would have been done with a friggin' pitchfork. That don't look like nothing a car would have done. I'd have had my eyes zoomed in on that house, and I'd have been going in that house to find out if there's anybody else dead in that house. I'm going to get to that in a minute. So we know they didn't bother. They didn't bother to take any pictures. That was not important because they don't know how to investigate in the snow in the state of Massachusetts. I hope Governor Healy can one day hear that she's got law enforcement and troopers that don't know how to investigate crimes when it's snowing in Massachusetts. I mean, that's about like saying the Texas Rangers can't work when it's hot in Texas. No, they never did bring CSI in to investigate. And the search and rescue, they're not there for that. They're there to find people. That's what search and rescue's for, search and rescue them. They're not in there to find out who killed them. They're in there to find them after they've been harmed. But, who are we? They did find some planted, allegedly. I'm going to say, do I say allegedly? I believe it was planted. I think I can say that. I mean, we know that Tully cannot get my phone records because I'm in Texas. Have fun, Tully. My searches look pretty interesting right now. Oh my gosh, they really do. You ever go checking mine? You're going to have, but you can see I'm following a case that has every reason I'm Googling, every question I'm Googling, right? So the house and the surrounding areas have never been thoroughly searched. They should have been searched immediately. The witnesses that were in the home were never separated. They were allowed to sit and embrace one another because they were so upset because their friend, the guy, well, he never came in the house. He just died on the front yard. Does any of that make any sense to anybody? Do y'all feel the way I feel? Is that how y'all feel? Because I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. So they never ever kept them apart. And they didn't bother to document anything. I mean, they had little notepads. I've read y'all everything we had. That is the most pathetic. I mean, geez. It sure was on her car at 5 a.m. I tell you what, when the Nagel boy, when he testified, very eye-opening at that point and he stated it. So I guess the defense just needs to just hammer this shit home because apparently I'm not being rude or ugly to the people that sat on that jury, but apparently they needed this hammered home. Brian Nagel, was that his name? Brian, whatever, the Nagel brother that was going to pick up his sister. He's a complete jerk face. I saw him in front of Danny Pizza on that video day, and he's disgusting. But he sure did act nice in front of the judge, just like Colin Albert. Bring him in trying to act like a choir boy. Yeah, with his knuckles and his middle finger is the only way he speaks. I mean, his middle finger is up for everybody to see at all times. I mean, that's just, and his parents and his aunt and uncle. I mean, they talk to each other by flipping each other the bird. I think they think it's funny. I grew up thinking that's a very disgusting thing. I don't find any humor in it, none. I think you can be absolutely hysterical without the F word, but sticking up the middle fingers. I mean, I know that when my children, the very first time, whether it be accident or on purpose, that they did that, I remember having to turn my head because I got the giggles. It's so wrong. But when they're so little and they're trying to show you something they just learned, and what they just learned is just terrible, they have no idea and they're all excited, but they're trying to show you. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So we know that there was a definite, definite um, allegation of everybody needing, to recuse themselves because they were just too close to friendly. But, they did recuse themselves from interviewing. I didn't know you could pick and choose. I guess the laws have changed because recusal means recusal. It means get out, stay out, and don't come back in. You don't belong in it. You don't belong near it. You have no right to anything that's being told. But yet, Tully, Tully was able to get Turtle Boy's computers, phones, Karen Reed's phone, because he was suspicious that they were conspiring. Now, for whatever law enforcement officer sat on that stand and said, we didn't have probable cause, I'm fixing to surpass that, mister, because you didn't need probable cause, not when you showed up. You did not need probable cause. So I'm going to help you. You did not need to get a search warrant. I'm going to help you out right there. I am not a law enforcement officer, but I tell you what, one of you law birds or law nerds or whoever, somebody tell me that I'm wrong at what I'm fixing to say. There is a dead man in the front yard of this home. He has one shoe on. He's not dressed for the weather. And it's still everywhere else, right? So common sense tells you, oh my God, he must have come from that house because they saw no footprints supposedly anywhere. So where did he come from? They saw no body marks being dragged in the ground. So where did he come from? Common sense says, oh my God, there's a house behind him. Could he have come from there? Did he come from there? If he did come from there, are those people okay? Because nobody, come on, folks, nobody would knowingly leave a friend out in the front yard to die. Right? Is that how I said? Yeah. Well, they did have probable cause, in my opinion, Dirt and My, because, like I said, underdressed, one shoe on, one shoe off, had been invited there. But I'm guessing that the way that they got out of it is because Jennifer McCabe said, oh, I was here last night and he never came in. Is that how they got out of it? How do they get out of it? Because, quite frankly, um, this is what I'm going to say. This is how I think it should have gone. If a person is found deceased in someone's front yard under suspicious circumstances, missing a shoe, not dressed right, the weather is horrific, um, it should raise immediate concerns. Right. See, I don't know, Deborah, I didn't see it, but it should have raised immediate concerns when they found John O'Keefe in that yard for this. Concerns for the residents' safeties. I did type this out, like I said, because if I get on here and start talking, then I don't hit all my marks. So if a person is found dead or in distress near a home, the first thought should be whether or not something happened to the people inside. Could the people inside be incapacitated? Could they need immediate assistance? So let me tell you right now, let's just halt all this right here. Let's say that this is massive and much bigger than it started. Let's say John O'Keefe was dead in the yard. Let's say nobody ever went in the house. And a day later, or 2 days later, or 3 days later, someone goes to the Albert home because nobody's heard from anybody, and they knock on the door and nobody answers. They are now going to have to do what's called a wellness check. But had they entered the home when they found the gentleman dead in the yard, then they could have saved some of the people that are now dead inside the house. That's how my brain is working. My brain is saying, wait a minute, even if the cops want to get up there and say we didn't have probable cause, okay, I don't want to argue probable cause. That's just one avenue. That's just one avenue. How about giving a shit if the people in the house are dead or alive? Am I the only person that's driving me crazy? Because police officers are trained to check for additional victims or threats. Be a reasonable assumption that something may have happened to the people inside the home, whether it's ongoing, whether it's done, are they still in the process? And then we're just going to say, well, what about investigating what might have happened to the person on the property? Okay, I'd go knock on the door. I mean, did he get mad and leave his clothes in the house? I don't know. So I don't know. But even if the residents claim they're safe, the police still have a right to come in, because what if there is a gunman in the house? What if there is someone in there with some kind of a weapon just ready to just wipe you out and take you out this world? Because of the fact that this house was not searched, I don't see how they'll ever convict Karen Reed, because the doubt is just, I mean, did she get mad at him and throw him out the car? I don't think so. So, what she's guilty of, and I'm going to say it again, she's guilty of driving. Yeah, Dirt My, it's like they knew. I think it was it Good or Lank that made the call because the lieutenant wanted to know what was going on 34 Fairview. Well, he didn't say at 34 Fairview. He said at Fairview, on Fairview Street. Ellie said, it's at 32 Fairview. And he said, oh, good. It's not even his house. His house. Oh, good. It's not even his house. So I want to know why they weren't concerned about the people in the house. Because even if Jim McCabe was there and left at 1:30 in the morning, she goes, hey, I was just here last night. Don't you think she should be concerned? If she knew absolutely nothing, for somebody that's so nosy and so into everybody else's business, I think she would have been having an absolute conniption fit and not even wanting to have Officer John O'Keefe looked after until they found out if the people in the house were okay. That would be, she would be frantic over that. That's where she would be frantic. Am I wrong? This part right here, it just doesn't make sense. And I think that if you ask them on the stand why they didn't have any concern for the people in the house, what is the answer going to be? But now that I've said that, they'll have time to prepare one because we all know that they try to get ahead of stuff, but I don't think there is one because they've tried to say we didn't have probable cause. Okay, you didn't have probable cause. That we're not going to argue over that. There's not a judge, but we didn't need it because we had a dead body on the yard, and I assume people were in the house. I would want to make sure they were alive. That's what I'd want to know. So, who was at the house that night? Well, we have Nicole Albert, Brian Albert, Brian Albert Jr., Julie Nagel, Sarah something, poor Caitlin Albert. We had Chloe there for a while. Colin Albert there. Who else? Oh, Higgins. How could I forget Higgins? I guess because he's easy to forget. Jen McCabe, Matthew McCabe. I don't know how I could forget them either. One of the named people that I just called off, they have to know one or more of these people are the ones that have the answer to what happened to Officer John O'Keefe. One of them would be able to solve this entire thing. Those that do know and that are refusing to speak up, I would venture to guess it's starting to weigh on them by now. And I can't imagine someone trying to carry that kind of a secret. Can you? I can't. I don't know. So then we come up with, why would the people in the house want John O'Keefe dead? So there's speculation about Higgins because he was crushing so bad on Karen Reed. But I just have to say, folks, the Alberts don't care about Higgins. The Alberts don't care if Higgins had a crush on Karen Reed. If Higgins hit him and knocked his head into dirt in my eye, yeah, it would. My soul would burn. But let's say Higgins cold cocked John O'Keefe, an accident that when he fell back, he hit his head on some exercise, like some weightlifting stuff. And that's how he got that. And as soon as that happened, he's incapacitated. That's the thing that makes me just want to scream at them. His head injury incapacitated him immediately. He didn't crawl to that spot. He didn't get thrown to that spot. It didn't happen. So when you take all this and you try to figure out who killed John O'Keefe, you narrow down the suspect pool by who was in the house. Now, with that said, that seems to be what Aiden Kearney has done. Turtle Boy. That's what he did. He dug and dug and dug, and he got that information, and that's what he wanted to pass along. But he also tried and tried and tried to get the people that know something to say something. And if running his mouth would have solved the murder, wouldn't we all be happy? But instead, running his mouth just made the other people double down and say, I'm losing everybody. Just made people double down and say, no, you're harassing the witnesses. No, he's not harassing the witnesses. He's asking the witnesses to please, please, please tell the truth. Just tell the truth. Yep, vomit, blood, head injury. Head injury. Oh, it's horrible that John O'Keefe died. That in itself is a travesty. But to know, this is what kills me. These are police. These are state troopers. They don't care that Officer John O'Keefe died a horrible death. He died a horrible death. Do you remember one of the guys that said that John O'Keefe had looked like frozen water on his face? I think they were tears. The minute he said that, I started crying because I thought, sure, there were tears. He was in pain. He couldn't move. He is freezing. He knows he's dying. And he knows who did it. And he knows why. I would say those are tears on his face. This man did not die in vain. He did not die in vain. The whole caboodle of you filthy, dirty cops and troopers, John O'Keefe did not die in vain. And I wish that was the, can you imagine if we could get the family to really look at the evidence and the lack thereof evidence? Take out Karen Reed's name if you don't like Karen Reed. I mean, I myself don't think I could dislike someone that one of my children loved so very much to the point of what's happening here. I think I would be trying to figure out what, and everybody around the world almost is saying she didn't do it. And if Karen Reed didn't do it, it only leaves the people in the house. And I just can't believe that Josh Levy is finished, because I don't believe the FBI would have given that information to the defense if they wanted to see him prosecute an innocent woman. But I think that the troopers and the cops, they think that whoever has been protecting them all this time can keep on protecting them, because they're behaving in public in manners that, oh my gosh, really? You're really acting like this? Like the FBI is going to save them? Because they wouldn't. They're not going to look the other way. I mean, we know how bad Morrissey tried to get them to look the other way. We know Morrissey was convinced it was just a snap, procedure, just open and shut case. Karen Reed did it. We know the FBI said, hey, you do yours, we'll do ours, because we don't agree with you. They had absolutely, and still, they have absolutely no respect for Officer John O'Keefe. When I hear people say that we're being ugly to the families, I always apologize. I never, for example, if I was in his family, I wouldn't sit here and watch American Nana talk about him. No way. I don't want to listen to her view on how he died, because how he died is cruel. I mean, if you think about it, I literally, when the trial was going on, literally cried when he said he had frozen water on his face. Do y'all remember that? That one hit me so hard, because I thought, what a dumbass. He had tears and they froze on his face. That's what I thought. And I literally was crying. I mean, I'm just like, can you imagine? I can imagine. I don't think for 5 seconds that John O'Keefe was really close to anybody in that house, including Jennifer McCabe. But to have them murder him, he didn't see that coming. So the only thing that I can think of, there's only 2 avenues. Well, there's 3. The one is everybody's concerned that Higgins hit him because they were fighting over Karen Reed. The other one is in a job that he performed for the Boston PD. We're going to say a call came into his desk one day that had something to do with Sandra Birchmore's case. I think that his investigations may have turned him down some roads that, I don't know, did he think he could just talk to these people and they were going to come straight? They were going to give themselves up. They were going to confess to wrongdoing. He was going to save them from themselves and save others from them. If that's the case, well, then I'm sure we could understand Brian Albert hitting, right? Brian Albert, he's going to keep all his skeletons in a closet, allegedly. I'm just speculating, folks. I'm not saying anybody did it for 100%. Don't say I did, because I didn't. I'm just going to go to line by line down what I think may have happened. The other thing that nobody ever brings up is Brian Albert Jr. It must be very hard to be a gay young man in that house. I get the feeling that he's gay, which there's nothing at all wrong with. Nothing. But he also says that he suffers from anxiety. I would too in that house. So on his birthday, was his birthday the 28th or 29th? Do we know? But they were celebrating his birthday. Every single year when he has his birthday, he now gets to think about the man they found dead on his parents' front yard. You never see Officer John O'Keefe hanging out with Brian Albert or Brian Higgins at the bar. He said hello. And then, yeah, I mean, he was talking to his other friends. And I'm also just going to ask in here, okay, so we know that Proctor, whenever he catch a case that was interesting, we have no doubt what he did. Don't even try to say he didn't. Ever since he's been crooked, he's got his phones, nothing is safe. I mean, his family having a fit. This guy's been doing this shit a long time. He thought that he was above the law. It's okay, buddy. You want to kill somebody? No big deal. I'll look the other way. Just give me 2 females on the side, or whatever their exchange was. But really, you really think that's going to do it? I mean, there's no way that the Alberts would have covered for Higgins. So I'm going to say that right up front. Somebody thought, oh, because you even heard Brian Albert. He even said, oh, well, we're not that good of friends. We're not that good of friends, right? We're not. He came over to the house. We're not that good of friends. Okay, well, and the only person that talked about his Jeep was Jennifer McCabe. But then she didn't, because then she got confused. She was so confused over where Higgins' Jeep was, and think about because I was like, are they trying to say Higgy hit him? Because Higgy had one of them things on it, but it would have been too early. Either way you go, there's no way. I mean, the story is unbelievable. It's totally unbelievable. If the Commonwealth is listening at all, maybe you'll understand you won't ever win this because it's so full of holes. Nothing makes sense. If you get anybody on, if you get people that do not know the McAlberts on the jury, and you ask them to just listen to everything, and they are allowed to use common sense, y'all are in trouble. You have no proof that Karen Reed hit him, because there is no proof. You're never going to find any proof. It's impossible, right? So The other, let me think. There was another way. What are y'all's thoughts? What do y'all think happened? I mean, um, and then there's the Brian Albert or Colin Albert hit John O'Keefe. John O'Keefe, if he went back to hit at one of them, the dog alerted and got involved. I mean, definitely he was attacked by a dog. Um, the tail light did not jump out and attack John O'Keefe. You know, one of those movies where you can just, you break things up and they go out in just a bunch of different pieces, and then you do something, they all come back and they go together. Well, that didn't happen. It wouldn't happen. It's impossible. You can't do it. And then my other assumption is what they plan to do was to take him out and put him in the yard where they did, and do what they did. Wait till he was discovered. The problem with waiting and then having him discovered was they did not expect it to be Karen Reed. If Karen Reed would have just stayed asleep, who all wonders if she wishes she would have just stayed asleep? If you could have saved John O'Keefe's life, then that would be worth it to go get him, obviously. But in these circumstances, Higgins and Jen were, yeah, that did. I feel like a fight happened. Not sure who. I think Higgins and Albert, based on the video. Not sure about Colin. See, I'm not sure about Colin either. Maybe he had something to do with helping get rid of the dog. I don't know. But then they say that Caitlin's boyfriend drove a vehicle like the one that Lucky saw in front of the house before the body was put there. Mm. Can anybody else think of some other things that we, you know, I can't be the only one that sits here and says, okay, these are the things that stick out to me. But for the life of me, and what I was going to say before, and I got off track, but let's just say that the people behind him in that house, let's say they were all killed. Well, don't you think the cops would be hung up to dry right now if that had happened because they didn't go in that day? Maybe they could have. So I don't know. You know, Angela, Lala, that's a scary thought. What would have happened if she went in the house instead of going home? Well, I think she would have fought like hell for one. I don't think she would have gone downstairs to the whatever with all the men. I don't I don't I don't think. I mean, she may have, but if all the women were not down those stairs or upstairs, wherever they were, that's a scary thought, though. It really is. I just wonder who's going to crash and burn first, because somebody's going to crash and burn. And by that, I'm saying somebody probably didn't think about the fact that they're covering up for someone being murdered and that it's going to impact the rest of their lives. And they have to be feeling the effects of that. I mean, I couldn't live. If that was me, I don't think I could survive. Ooh, I'm getting, do you think you could? I mean, really? My back's hot, sorry. I don't think I could. So those are the things that bother me, and that, I mean, it seemed feasible question that the defense could pound them on, stop them from that we didn't have any You know, they'll go after your cell phone for nothing. Just speculation that you're conversating with someone about something you shouldn't be. But they're not going to open that front door and see if anybody else in the house is dead. Jennifer McCabe, she didn't act like she was scared, so I don't know. See, I've heard the rumors of Brian Albert and his wife as well, that they're not together. And yeah, I do have a conscience. But I mean, you can't tell me that out of all of the people in that house, nobody has a conscience. I mean, that's scary in itself. Somebody, yeah, I've heard they have split up. I don't know. But I mean, when you leave all this behind in a wake of devastation and destruction, and you kept your mouth shut, what do you expect it to do to your marriage? What do you expect it to do the rest of your life? What do you expect it to do to your family? Covering it up at all is just, and Jen McCabe, what? Let's just say that we're all sure that she knows what she did. Let's just say, because we allege it, she was involved. She didn't kill him, but she knows. So, because there's just, you don't go to somebody's house. It's not normal to go to someone's house, find a dead person on the yard, and not wonder if the people in the house were okay. I mean, in whose world does that make sense? Let alone the fact of, if they would have had a case, they wouldn't have had to have Trooper Paul sell his soul to the devil and look like the biggest imbecile in America up on the stand. Who, if you ever leave that law enforcement office, should not ever be able to get another job in law enforcement, because it's out there for the world to see that you were willing to take the evidence they gave you, Trooper Paul, and try to make that evidence fit John O'Keefe's injuries in a manner that would prove that Karen Reed killed him. So, for every one of the law enforcement officers that were involved in this case, I want to know why they're not all fired, including the troopers. When people out on the streets, just regular people, can sit and nitpick your case apart, you got a problem. And it's not that we're nitpicking things apart because we either like or don't like someone. It's because of where the facts are pointing. I mean, that's simple truth. The facts all say the people in the house have to know what happened to John O'Keefe. Karen Reed was connected back to 1 Meadows Ave. One person says 1236, somebody else said 1241. Really doesn't matter. She was there. Yeah, it just drives me crazy, my person's monkey. Karen Reed was back home when Jennifer McCabe 2 times stated that she looked out the window, saw the car, texted this. She looked out the window, saw the car, texted this, and then they drove away. 2 times. She clearly lied because the car wasn't there. But yet we're going to say, oh, just a little bit of no big deal, and believe everything else she says. So far, I haven't found, I know I heard her on the stand, but so far in going through the reports, I haven't come across anything where she said that Karen Reed said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. What I do have is a lot of information that everyone that saw Karen Reed that day said she was hysterical. One person said she was even in shock. Could be, yes. So how in the hell do you take any statement that she did actually make, because we know she didn't make that one. So let's say she made a statement to say that she spilled her hot chocolate in the snow and there's a brown spot. People can look around and go, I don't see any brown spot. Are you sure you had hot chocolate? She said she spilled hot chocolate, but she's so hysterical. There is no hot chocolate. And then they come around and go, oh, you know what? We need to find out who stole the hot chocolate. Oh, she stole the hot chocolate. She herself said it is Karen Reed. She said that she spilled it on the ground. She did. She said that. What else did she say? Oh, I don't know. She's not making any sense about anything. What do you mean? I mean, she's over there frantic. I don't know. But anytime Jim McCabe talked about it, she had just this disdainful hatred for Karen Reed and how she was acting, because she, in fact, had found her boyfriend dead at 34 Fairview Road in the snow. So that bothers me. So I don't know. I mean, do y'all have anything? What am I missing? I mean, surely there's more to it than just that. But that in itself, the fact that they had and should have been concerned for the people in the house behind them. They should have done a welfare check on the people in the house. After all, there's a dead man in your yard. And they didn't even care to see if the people in the house were okay. Why? They already knew they were fine. They just wanted it cleaned up and they wanted them gone in no time. Just do it as fast as you can and get it all out of here. That's probably what they were told. Get it out of here. Just like the guy never came in the house, we'll pin it on the girl. Those all go hand in hand, in my opinion. So, folks, that is the video that I've been dying to make, simply because maybe now I can stop interjecting every time, but I don't know. Because each time I try, if I'm reading something that I haven't read before or seeing something I haven't seen before, then my attitude and my thoughts they just come out. I guess I could mute myself, but anyway. So the next thing I'm trying to decide. I believe Turtle Boy goes live sometime tonight, right? Friday. I don't know, but I am going to do some of Turtle Boy. I did find some that was. Even pull up the articles. We'll pull up the articles that they quoted. How's that? I mean, there are some things that I've read that Turtle Boy said that, well, I'll be honest, there's a lot Turtle Boy said that I wouldn't say. My own kids are in his age bracket. They do the same thing. His thought process that he's speaking as to why he's going. Well, thank you, my persons. I feel like I interrupted too much, though. But the process for Turtle Boy to be taken to court and for these people to keep getting to scream that they're intimidated witnesses, I really wish we didn't have to wait until January, because I mean, I know they can just keep on screwing up, but why can't Turtle Boy just say what he says and, take out some of the spicier words, but put him in jail because he believes somebody in that house knows what happened to Officer John O'Keefe, and he's trying everything he can to get them to open their mouth. What is it going to take? That's why he's acting that way. He's not at all trying to intimidate anybody. He is, however, trying to get somebody to tell the truth. And you never know what it is that you're going to say that may actually reach somebody. Will they be scared that you're going to show up? Will they be frightened that you're going to show up? If they are scared and frightened, maybe they'll speak. And just scared and frightened is just because he talks. He wouldn't hurt a flea. I mean, he's mouthy. He's mouthy. He can go and go and go. And they're evil. And mouthy's going to win over evil. You know, they really are. It's going to happen. But it's just, I'm gobsmacked that here we are in the middle of this case with no proof. I can't get past it. I just can't. So anyway, I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a, yeah, some of it is pretty funny. I actually have, you know, the particulars, and then I have Tully and them's, I have something when they also got, Karen Reed's phone. And I mean, just to swear a warrant out to be able to get the phone is just, you suspect. Well, I mean, my phone may say something too, because I'll tell you what, I have the most disrespect. I have no respect. I don't even have disrespect. I have absolutely no respect for a single law enforcement officer in Canton, Mass. I have absolutely no respect for any Massachusetts state trooper. I have a lot of respect for Josh Levy. I'm still holding on to hope that the governor steps in, because this is really a situation where people in this town are going to get hurt. And the sad thing is, it's probably going to be a commoner, and they're probably going to be protecting themselves from a townie, and the commoner is probably going to win, and then the townies are going to be out for blood. That's kind of how I see what's going to keep going on. If this continues, they do their select board meetings on Zoom. They don't have to face anybody in town. They don't have to answer anybody in town. And they can sit there and ask, well, why do you have a problem with what was said or done at the crime scene? Because after all, it was ingenious. So I don't know, folks. I don't know. But I'm going to say thank you very much for hanging out with me. I'm going to go for now. I don't know if I'll be back later or if I'll do anything or what. I'm going to be making some shirts soon. So I know that, you know what, at that board meeting, everybody in Massachusetts should have woken up right then, right? It doesn't matter where, if I lived in that state and I heard that comment, I'd be on the phone to the governor. I mean, I'd be on the phone. Who can help the people? You know, they definitely need receivership. Nobody's looking out for them and nobody's protecting them. Nobody's even trying. And they don't listen. And the duckies. Oh my God. So, yes. So, this is the thing. We can't, sorry, my fathers. We can't say, right? We can't say that they did an investigation into John O'Keefe's death, because they didn't. We can say, however, that they've done a very thorough investigation on yellow rubber duckies. Rubber ducky, where are you? Here come the law enforcement through and through. Yeah. So we got the rubber ducky going on, and we got the witness intimidation going on. And I tell you what, man, they hold no bars. They don't leave any stone unturned in that. They've got all they can to get out there and say, hey, we got to find who did this. Who put these rubber duckies out there? Why did they write this on it? I mean, could you imagine? Didn't they also say they actually went in a man's house that had rubber duckies? I need his address because I bet I can send him via what, Amazon? Hell, Temu probably will send him an entire big old bag, right? If y'all tried that, I'd like to get some sent to my house so I could decorate them up and then send them on out to Canton. That's what I like to do. It'd be fun. We could paint on them and everything. Maybe I will. But yeah, rubber duckies. So if you place a rubber duck somewhere, they're going to hunt you. They will find you and they will try to prosecute you. Mark my word. There goes that camera thing again. Is it? I wonder if I'm touching something. All right. So if I do that, I don't know. I'm getting really hot. Yeah, would that be fun? I'm going to check on that. I'm going to see how much it would cost. I'll let y'all know if I find the best deal. I thought of, if I get free shipping and they ship it to me for free, I could paint them, color them, whatever, and then I'm sure somebody in Canton wouldn't mind receiving the package. We could even see if it turned into a conspiracy. Maybe they'll check us all. Y'all got a group of folks on YouTube. They are trying to figure out how to bombard Canton with rubber duckies. Let's work on that. We could have a new group going, guys. Nana could have a rubber ducky band. Rubber ducky. Anyway, before I embarrass myself and try to sing, which I can't do. But it's time for me to put my hair up. My room's getting hot because the door's shut. Go have me a cigarette and another cup of coffee. Hey, that would be great. Are you in that area? Or are you just in Arkansas? Oh, I gotcha. Well, you know how they do those rocks? You paint rocks and you find them all over. Remember that? Well, we could do that with rubber duckies. We could take them to our towns, but I still want to send some to them just because I want them to investigate it and see if they can find the box I sent. You think they can? Huh? Because I tell you what, if Tully ever pulled up to my house, I'd shut my door. I say, ain't no way, dude. If I lived in y'all's area, I definitely would recognize any of the people, right? If y'all recognize these troopers or these officers, are you going to respond to them or let them in your house or have a conversation with you or let them give you a ticket? I mean, they're putting the whole entire town's safety in question because these are crooked cops. They're crooked. They're sick. They're corrupt. And to not stop them, you don't care about the people that live in Canton because you still let these yahoos run around and harass people because the people had the nerve to tell Jennifer McCabe they wanted her to tell the truth. And because they did that, now they're catching charges. What was it, a year later after the fact? Did y'all hear all that from Turtle Boy? This is never ending. It's like you would think it's going to stop. I have all these cases that I really, really want to watch, and I'm sure I'll figure out a way to do it. But I'm so involved and I need to know everything, which is funny because then I turn around and forget it. But I got it in a notebook somewhere. But then I don't remember which notebook. But somebody somewhere that I said it to will remember and can help me. I've always had a little trouble with my brain. They are desperate, aren't they? But it's time for it to stop. It truly is. Has Karen Reed and her family not been through enough? And quite frankly, haven't the O'Keefes been through enough? The O'Keefes support the people in that house. When the truth finally does come out, I can't even imagine I can't even imagine how upset the O'Keefes are going to be, because the truth is not Karen Reed. We all know that. So I can't imagine. I mean, Paul O'Keefe is going to have, and this lawsuit, that may be my next one. That might be my next one, because I've got the thing. I may just go on and read it. They're kind of boring, and if they're too big of words, then I just skip the words. I don't know. What am I seeing over there? Seeing a paper bag do that. That's got that big old brown box is full of ribbon. See, I don't see, let's see. See him? That's my very first ever gnome Santa that I bought. He was on sale at Hobby Lobby, 50% off. I don't have a single gnome with no face in my home, but I've thought they're cute. And my husband collects Santas. I think we have about 30, maybe 35. We get one every year, and I'm usually the one that picks them out, and he's the one that collects them. And I know that it's going to be a wonderful holiday season for many, many people, because I've already got my Santa, which means it's going to be a great holiday season. I love holidays. So I really and honestly wish that Karen Reed and her family wouldn't have this hanging over their heads for yet another holiday. And it would be nice if Turtle Boy and his family didn't have any of this hanging over their heads, but possibly satisfaction of both of them suing everyone for anything possible, because they need to own that town. They really do. So, I don't know. I'd like to see receivership. I'd like to see somebody get saved. I'd like to know where Governor Healy stands on this. I'd like her to know that the world is watching. I know that I don't have very many subs and not very many people watch my videos, but if you do, if you come through out here, and they have to feel the same. And some of your bigger folks, maybe they'll pick up a thing or two that I said that they haven't said. Maybe they've said everything I've said. I don't know, because I haven't watched them all. Because I'm still going back and digging through everything that happened before the trial. So we'll see. But I do have some interesting things about Turtle Boy, his case, that I really want to do. And then I want to do the Paul O'Keefe one, simply because I'm curious as to how they wrote that up. How do they write up you're a blooming idiot? Because we just watched a 2-month trial that every person that got up on that stand and testified about John O'Keefe and Karen Reed, and they all said that they weren't overly intoxicated. They were not showing anything of the sort. And my people saw no problem, and they served them. And just because we give you a shot doesn't mean we watch it all the way to see where's it go. Do you hand it to somebody else? And if you think for 1 second that I'm going to believe anything that Canton PD has touched or the troopers have touched, the videos, no, no. And you're guessing, and we tried to count the drinks too, but the bottom line is everybody testified that Karen Reed was not drunk. And he was not drunk. Now we know that he was, but come on, folks. This is just, this is just too much. I wait every day. I get up and I hit YouTube, because I know that it's going to pop up on so many of the notifications of the people that I watch the day somebody comes forward, the day that the Commonwealth admits, and they don't just need to admit they don't have enough, they need to admit that Karen Reed is an innocent woman who's been drugged through pure hell and back, all because her boyfriend died in someone's front yard. So, I guess I'll leave y'all with that thought. I hope y'all have a good weekend. Aw, I thank you for listening. I can't decide. Like, I was going to sit here the other day and read, and I thought, I could do that in my PJs if I just put just a screen up of the words, because I don't necessarily think y'all always have to see my face. I know a lot of people don't even use their face. So I did not mean to go over an hour, and I've been rambling for an hour and 40 minutes, y'all. I'm so sorry. But I hope y'all have a wonderful weekend. And you never know when I'm going to pop in again, right? So, and I am going to work on finding a way to figure out how to put out a phone, not a phone number, but I got to find me an email. But I've got a lot of different stuff to do on the computer tonight, so maybe I'll figure it out. Like I said, I still have to do my taxes before I get in trouble. Probably come in good for around the holidays, though. So, see, I'm smart when I save that up. Good night, everybody. Have a good one. Stay safe, and I hope if any of you have any loved ones in Florida or wherever that's being affected, I pray everybody is safe. That's so scary, so very scary. Bye.